enterprise app to help with analytics-driven audit automation. It is based around the ICS 500-27 standard, which gives us a list of auditable events. We break those events down into event families so that we can create our analytics and draw visualizations based off of them. From there, we can look into specific users or hosts, we can do real-time monitoring, and we can also even score our risk based off of the different events that are occurring. Typically with Q-Audit, we start at the data summary page. This is going to give us an idea of how we're doing across our entire network, that we're auditing everything we need to see. If everything looks good here, typically we go into our event families. There are 8 different event families. The first one is admin access and escalation. We select the system that we want to look at, and this is going to show us privilege executions. This is your run as administrator command in Windows or your sudo command in Linux. So here we can see top users by privilege executions, top processes with privilege executions, historic trends, failed privilege executions by user, the most recent events, and we can even see anomalous events. This is based off of Splunk's machine learning. It's looking for events that have a very small probability of occurring and telling us which field is anomalous. So in the case of what we're seeing here, we're seeing 3 different users, 3 different processes that have run that have been flagged as anomalous. For any of these visualizations or the anomalous events, if we want to get more information on it, we can just click on it and it's going to open up a separate window with the search for that information. You'll notice that you don't have to know Splunk in order to use this. We can do all the SPL that we need to do just by clicking on things. So here I'm seeing the event that was labeled as anomalous. I can use this to take a look into it. I can also take the username and look into it a little bit further using my user host investigation page. So I took this username and I'm going to go to my user host investigation page. I'm going to select my system. It'll show me the entire system as a whole, but I'm going to look for that specific user and I can see the information on what this user has been doing. If I want more information on any of these panels, I can expand the panel beneath it, click on Submit, and it's going to show me, in this case, all the admin or root level access that this user has done. I can filter it and maybe filter on status to see which ones are failures. And again, if I want more information on it, I can just click on the event and it'll bring up the raw event in Splunk. The next event family that we have is the application family. So these are looking at different applications on our system. So we're looking for watch-listed apps, off-profile apps, anomalous application initializations. We see we have recent application initializations, recent off-profile ones. No results for my watch-listed applications today, but I can configure what these apps are under the configuration menu, under baseline or watch list apps. This is where we add the apps that are part of our baseline or what we're expecting to see on a regular basis in watch listed. Watch listed apps might be apps that we think are malicious, or they might just be apps that are very powerful and we want to keep an eye on it. For example, PowerShell or regedit are apps that we might want to take a look at and know whenever users are running them. The authentication dashboard gives us all the information that we have about the different accounts that are authenticating into our system. So we're seeing the top users by failed login attempts, seeing source and destination counts, historic trends, anomalous authentications that have been flagged by Splunk, successful logins by authentication method, and recent authentication events. Data movement is often populated also by not just your Windows perfmon, but also by any DLP products that you might have. And here we're looking for things such as the top users of external media, top hosts by network data transfer, top printers by print activity. We're seeing device transfers, we're seeing the historic trends. We don't have any anomalous events today, but we're seeing the most recent events. For all these event families, We can always create an audit record to say that we've been here and have an audit trail set so that people can see that people have actually been taking a look at it. The file and object dashboard is going to show us things such as file permission changes, file ownership changes. We have what's going on with our different files and objects here. Our privileged access is different than admin access and escalation. Privileged access is actually about your security configurations, your audit policy configurations, your security policy configurations, all that information. We're taking a look at who's been doing those kind of changes. So we're tracking that to see who's changing your security policies. We're seeing the most recent events for it. We see our access to audit data, what's actually being looked at through our audit data, who's been looking at it, the policy changes by host. System dashboard gives us an idea of shutdowns and restarts that we've seen across our entire system. So this is something we might want to take a look at, for example, to look for restarts at odd times. If we have a policy of updating workstations at night and running the restarts then, we might want to flag it if a lot of restarts are happening during the middle of the day. It could be a sign of malicious software being installed or something like that. And then finally, user and group management. We're going to take a look at your Active Directory or your LDAP information, see who's been managing the different accounts, who's been managing the different groups, the creations, any anomalous events that we might see related to it. And then again, as with every panel, at the bottom we have the most recent events listed here. We actually tie all those recent event listings together in our real-time monitoring page. So this page is going to show us our most recent events across our network. We can see the different recent events from the different event families all in one place. And these panels are updated every 30 seconds. So every 30 seconds these will update, and we can see if we have new fired alerts, for example, or any new events that have come in. Each of these events will be given a score, so we can look at our risk summary dashboard, and we can take a look and see who's the riskiest user or the riskiest host. By default, it's just going to look at the last day. But if I want to look over the last week, I can see who's been the riskiest user every day. It's been this user Arnold. The riskiest host is the domain controller. So I can see all this information. I can see the breakdown by event that's been getting it. I can click on the name of the user or the host, and it will show me what's actually getting points for these events. So here I'm seeing that this user is getting a lot of points for change analysis. That might be something that's risky and I want to look into further. And I can create a ticket for that if I have the ticket app installed. I can also configure the scoring parameters if I want. So I can actually change what people are getting points for, so that if, for example, change analysis is not as important to me as it says, I can always add it in at a lower score than the score that it's been given. But that's a breakdown of the different things that you can do inside of Q-Audit. We can also configure alerts. So you can set up alerts based off of Q-Audit, and these will run automatically, and you can open them up in a search.